lovers, it is G-Swiss here, and I'm here today with another haul. So the last lot of books that I hauled, I had to split into 3 hauls due to sheer volume, but this time round, all 3 categories that I split my former hauls in, them being romance novels, manga, and anything else that's miscellaneous, all 3 of them will be represented in this book haul today. Some of these books I received from work, whereas others I received as pre-orders, and then some of them I impulse bought. And some of the pre-orders are from monthly book boxes or just special edition sets in general. I guess without further ado, let's get straight into this haul because we got a lot to cover today. The first book I would like to bring up in this haul today is X's and O's by Amy Leah. This was my bi-monthly Afterlight selection. If you guys don't know, Afterlight is a subscription service that is ran by the Illumicrate team, and they pretty much provide us with a romance book per month, and they make sure it's hardback and there's some sort of exclusivity to it. In this case, the color of the cover has been changed, and I reckon that it's been changed for the better, and these pages, oh my goodness. Everything about this edition I love so much. I also really love the lo-fi inspired end pages. I think my one gripe about this is the fact that this is the second book in a companion series, and so far as I'm filming this video, we've heard nothing about Illumicrate / Afterlight doing the first book in this companion series, so I hope that that announcement happens sometime soon. Fingers crossed it does, because I technically don't want an incomplete series on my shelves, because I want to read the Influencer series, and I don't know whether or not to read Set on You first, but this is absolutely stunning, and I'm very much pleased with my first Afterlife. And the next 2 books I have to hold today are both by Tessa Bailey. I was very much looking forward to getting Secretly Yours within this period. Camilo actually purchased this for me. How thoughtful of him. And with happenstance, I just so happened to find it at Kmart for 12 bucks, and I had to snatch it up because, oh my goodness, that was a deal. I remember when this book was actually independently published. I don't know if it's still independently published in some regions, but in Australia, it's been picked up by a publisher. So I was able to purchase it at Kmart, and that was an amazing surprise because I now have it, and I've added it to my ever-growing Tessa Bailey shelf. And speaking of romance novels that Camilo purchased for me, I have a few here. So first of all, I have When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I've heard great things about Sarah Adams' works, specifically the cheat sheet. I've heard great things about the cheat sheet, and she's also written a few others that I would like to add to my TBR. When I saw this cover, I fell in love, and we were just talking about how the dominant colors on this cover kind of complement each other, but I really don't want this to just be a cover buy. I also really want to read it as well. I hope that I love it just as much as I love its cover. Camilo also purchased me Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score. I've just been seeing so much about Lucy Score recently, and so I decided that I really wanted to jump onto the hype train and get some of her books. I really love this cover, and the dog really intrigued me, so I really want to try it out. Honestly, whenever I see some sort of cute animal on a cover, I am immediately drawn to it. I'm a simple woman. And then Camilo purchased me Wicked Beauty by Katie Roberts. This is the 3rd book in the Dark Olympus series. I have the first 2 books in the paperbacks, and I do have the special editions with the bookish box. However, considering how everything went down, I don't know as to like whether or not they are wanting to continue that set. So just in case they're not wanting to continue that set, I have decided I'm going to collect the traditional editions anyway. And I do like the traditional editions. They're not as like glamorous or fancy. However, I do want to support Katie Roberts this way as well. So I decided that I wanted to purchase Wicked Beauty, or at least like when Camilo offered to purchase me a book, I wanted this one to be it. So he purchased me Wicked Beauty. I cannot wait to read this series, and I also needed motivation to pick it up as well because Radiant Sin is already out. And the next book I have to hold today is We Can't Keep Meeting Like This by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I love Rachel Lynn Solomon's adult romance works, and so I want to read more from her, and at the moment I have a few young adult options. I seriously love this cover, but that's not the only reason why I got it. I heard amazing things about Rachel Lynn Solomon before actually reading any books from her, and then when I read Weather Girl, I immediately fell in love. Weather Girl is one of the best romance novels I've ever read in my entire life, and that is just how I know I need to read everything by Rachel Lynn Solomon. So We Can't Keep Meeting Like This has been added onto that list. Guys, yes, I'm continuing on with my Ice Planet Barbarian collection. My friend had a discount on these books, and I took advantage of it, okay? Now I just need to buckle down and read read them. Fun fact, I only found out as of recently that on AudibleAU, I don't know whether it's locked to my account or not because I've been telling people about it, not everyone has them, but I swear, they're on my account. My AudibleAU has given me access to the first 17 books of the Ice Planet Barbarian series. 17 books out of a 20 book series, that's not bad. So yeah, I also have the audiobooks, but I found that out after I purchased these. But either way, these covers are absolutely stunning and they kind of motivate me to read the series. I mean, they are technically part of the monster romance genre, so there's that. And the next book I have to hold today is The Best Thing by Mariana Zapata. I had a good amount of Dimmicks book lover points to get this book for only $10. So I used my book lover points and I only paid $10 for this book. Recommended retail price for this book is $22.99 Australian dollars. So that was a bargain. Also, I want to read Mariana Zapata eventually, and there are a lot of books from her. So I would definitely love to pick them up and to let you guys know how I go with them, because I hear that she's the queen of slow burn. Literally on the back of this book it says queen of slow burn romance. I literally hear that from everyone I know who has read her books. And the next book I have to hold today is The Final Offer by Lauren Asher. Once again, like the first two books, I had purchased this, I'd say either at Target or I think it was actually Kmart, but it was a bargain. So I ended up purchasing it for $12, and that's pretty good because once again, recommended retail price is usually $22.99. I love saving myself a good buck. This is the final book in the Dreamland Billionaires series. I believe it's the final book. I mean, it's the final offer, so it must be final. While I'm really happy I have a complete series on my shelf, what I don't like about this paperback in particular is that the spines don't match. Let me show you. This is what I'm talking about. The spines don't match. The number 3 is meant to be here, and I think they could have decreased the font a little bit. No, they should have just swapped them over, and I think that the numbers would have lined up so much better. I seriously don't know what the publisher was thinking here, whoever was doing the spread, but they should have really looked at their former books before actually going to print here, because this is a disaster in my opinion. But anyway, it's kind of annoying, but at the end of the day, I'm just really happy I have all 3 books, and I'm so looking forward to reading them because, I mean, rich people fantasy. I don't know, sometimes I like escapism. And the next book I have to hold today is Unnecessary Drama by Nina Kenwood. I literally saw this cover and I saw this title and I thought to myself, I needed to purchase it. I had nothing else convincing me to purchase it, except I saw a few people read it after I first saw it, and then I thought to myself, okay, maybe I will purchase it, and I saw it for $16, which is pretty good for a trade paperback, so I purchased it. And I believe that Nina Kenwood is Australian. I believe it's some sort of college roommate flat share situation, so I'm very much looking forward to this one. And speaking of Australian authors, I also have The Hemsworth Effect to Hull. This is by James Weir, and this book definitely intrigued me because it's a book set in Byron Bay. If you guys don't know where Byron Bay is, it's essentially in New South Wales, the state that I live in, except it's closer to Queensland. So like on the other side of New South Wales from where I live. The thing is, Byron Bay kind of blew up overnight. Well, I mean, it kind of blew up when Chris Hemsworth announced that he was living there. No joke. More celebrities started moving over to Byron Bay. I've been there a few times. My parents used to road trip all the way from Sydney to the Gold Coast when I was younger, so that was painful. But we would always stop over at Byron Bay. And Byron Bay was a very quiet town whenever I used to go there. My parents loved it. I didn't get the hype of it at the time. It was just very quiet. It was just very chill. Everyone was very chill there. You know what? So many people loved how chill Byron Bay was and the vibes of Byron Bay. Once Chris Hemsworth announced that he moved to Byron Bay, all these influencers just came out of nowhere and just started plugging Byron Bay. Byron Bay apparently is a lot more popular than it used to be. The Byron Bay that I picture apparently is not the same as the Byron Bay that it is now. And so the author was very much inspired by that concept and made a book titled The Hemsworth Effect that is set in Byron Bay, pretty much talking about influencer culture in Byron Bay at the moment. And I'm living for it because I completely understand that reference. As soon as I heard the author talk about this book for the very first time, I immediately got excited. So I seriously cannot wait to read The Hemsworth Effect and to let you guys know how I go with it. I reckon that this is going to be a really funny read. And the next 2 books I have to hold today are 2 books by Ellie O'Neill, one being Reluctantly Charmed and the other being The Enchanted Island. I pretty much picked these up from work. I know nothing about them, except when I did my research, I found out that they were some sort of magical realism type novels. I was just very much attracted to these covers. They're just so pretty. I'm very much looking forward to some sort of surprising read from these. Now I'm moving on to the manga that I hold within this period. Starting off with Helk Volume 2. This is a continuation of the Helk series. I talked about this in my previous haul where I hauled Volume 1. And then I have Yakuza Lover Volume 8. I love this series so much. I've talked about it many times. I don't need to bring it up up again, but I've hauled this one and I'm excited for it. I also have Imakoi Now I'm in Love Volume 5. I love this series. This series is so wholesome, and I'd have to say, like, if Yakuza Lover is the more steamy series, this is the light stuff and the more wholesome stuff that I need in the times where I'm not looking for steam, rather I'm looking for something that's just a bit more wholesome and a bit more sweet. Next I have The King's Beast Volume 9, and this is definitely a series that I need to continue. I just really loved the first few volumes of The King's Beast, but every single time I read it, I end up getting emotional. So I really need to push past those emotions and actually really sink my teeth into the series, because I pretty much read this series like portion by portion. I just need to learn how to binge it and be okay with binging it. We will see how we go, but I have Volume 9 at the moment. I'm loving the series so far and I cannot wait to continue. And then I have Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible Volume 6. I love this series as well. It's very wholesome, it's very cute, and I know I say this every time, but I seriously love the illustrations. I love how detailed she is, but I just laugh at how non-detailed he is. Just hilarious. This series is cute, it's fun, I recommend it. And then I have Ghost Reaper Girl Volume 4. I've read the first 3 volumes of the series and I've enjoyed it so far. I don't know how long this series is going to go for though. I don't know whether it's going to conclude at Volume 5 or not, but I mean, we will find out. I have been enjoying this series and I have been enjoying the team-ups I've seen so far, so I cannot wait to see what happens in Volume 4. And next I have to haul Ayashimon Volume 1. This is essentially a 3-volume series on how this protagonist essentially wants to become a shonen hero. I love the references that are made in this. They made reference to Dragon Ball Z and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I'm wondering throughout the series whether or not those references will continue. I'm enjoying it. I cannot wait to continue on with it. And another manga that I'm also in the middle of as I'm filming this is Insomniacs After School. First of all, can we take some time to appreciate this cover? It is so cute. And I was essentially drawn to this manga because it follows 2 insomniacs, and I struggle with insomnia. It unfortunately does affect the way that I'm able to perform on a day-to-day basis, and what I appreciate about these 2 is that they essentially find themselves in a secret hideout in the middle of the school day, and they are trying to rest and kind of recover, and through that they end up sparking a friendship, and it's just absolutely cute. And the final manga I have to hold today is Mermaid Scales and the Town of Sand. This right here is a standalone. It's a pretty thick standalone, and before I had any chance to read it, Camilo essentially snatched it off me first, and he read it and he loves it, so I need to read it so I can bond with him over it. I was very much drawn to this cover. Pretty much it's about the protagonist believing that she saw a mermaid or a merman when she was younger, and she believes that they exist, whereas the people around her don't believe that such creatures exist. So I'm curious to see how it all plays out, whether or not they do exist or not, or whether it was just some sort of dream or hallucination she had. And moving on to some pretty hardbacks. First of all, I have to show you guys these Haruki Murakami special editions. I ended up picking up, I got them through my friend's discount. So here I have Norwegian Wood. I don't love this cover as much as I love the other 2. Maybe it's because this flap is getting in the way. I mean, that looks really cool. It's just you can't really tell what that looks like. There's a guy standing in the distance, and the colors of the original Norwegian Wood cover is like in the background, and that's really cool. It's pretty much a silhouette cover. You can't really tell that from afar, but I do appreciate it when I take the time to appreciate it. And then I have to show off the Wind Up Bird Chronicle. Once again, I'll just take this flap off so you can see. I kind of like that feather design. I kind of wish that this and this were 2 separate covers, but either way, I reckon that it looks very cool. I like how this looks in general. I love the Wind Up Bird Chronicle as well, so I couldn't say no to a special edition of it. And finally, my favorite book by Haruki Murakami, Kafka on the Shore. When I take this off, it looks fantastic. I love the design of this cover so much. I love that there's a cat there. I love the spine here. This design tops all of them. Like, it's just so pretty. I'm so obsessed. I'm really happy that I have a special edition of my favorite Murakami book, because I've always had the general edition of Kafka on the Shore, and there hasn't necessarily been an edition of Kafka on the Shore I've wanted so bad. But then when I saw this edition of Kafka on the Shore, I immediately knew it had to be mine. So I'm very much pleased with this, and I'm happy that it is on my shelves now. And the next 2 books I have to hold today came in my monthly Fabled, and I'm not gonna lie, they actually pleasantly surprised me. After a disaster December, in my personal opinion, I wasn't really keen on my December Fabled. My January Fabled kind of convinced me that maybe I'm to give them a few more chances. This all being said, I received this after I talked about how disappointed I was in my December book picks in the most recent unhaul that I posted on my channel, but overall my January book picks kind of look okay. So I have Of Shadow and Moonlight by Luna Laurier. The thing is, we're using similar flowers again, I know, but I kind of like that they use used the foiling here. We also have that signed book plate, which is really cool. But underneath the dust jacket looks like this, and I reckon that this is a pretty good combination. I am not saying that every book should look like this going forward. I reckon that they should be more creative with their designs, definitely. However, I was pleased with this one. And I was also kind of pleased with the digital printed edges here. I mean, they're not amazing, but at least they're aligned. I'm actually happy that I did receive this one. I was actually dreading receiving this box, or at least I was dreading receiving this book in particular because I wasn't too sure how much effort was put into it. But I can see that they put effort into this one and I appreciate it. And I reckon that this definitely beats the original cover. But then I also have Fighting Destiny by Amelia Hutchins. And I reckon that this definitely beats the original cover. Look at that. That is so pretty. And in my personal opinion, I reckon that Fabled should probably stick to the books that don't really have great covers, because I would prefer an improved cover rather than a cover that is fixed when the original cover wasn't broken. But I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Some people look for these designs every month, but this is probably one of the best designs from Fabled. I like how they did this. And I mean, the digital printed edges, I'm not going wild for them. I think I would have just preferred a gilded edge or something, but I like this cover better, and I definitely want to see the rest of the series in editions like this. There's also a signed book plate in gold as well. The end pages look pretty cool. They kind of match the pages here. This edition is really cool. I like that they took a series with covers that aren't necessarily pleasant and they improved upon it. And I seriously prefer that over fixing something that isn't broken to begin with. I don't know, that's just the feedback I have. I've noticed that like Fairy Loot and Illumicrate sometimes keep the original concept of a book's cover if the book's cover does not need to be fixed. That is essentially what I wanted to see from Fabled. So going forward, I'll just be looking at hints as to like what books they choose to do and see whether or not I want a Fabled edition of that book or whether I would just prefer an original edition of that book because I like the cover better. And the next book I have to hold today is a special edition of one of my favorite books of last year, and that, my friends, is This Vicious Grace by Emily Thied. And this is the Fox and Wit special edition that they actually put up for resale on Black Friday, and oh my goodness, it's so pretty. It was actually illustrated by one of my favorite illustrators of all time, and that is Alice Maria Power. She illustrated my Bargainer special editions and the Air Comes to Rise series. I just love her illustrations. Every single time I see that she's brought something new out, I immediately know that I have to either save it or I have to purchase it if it is something I can purchase. And in this case, I could purchase this, and it is one of my favorite books of all time, so that's a win-win. Next up, I have to show off a special edition box set of the Demon Queen Trials. The Demon Queen Trials is a trilogy by C.N. Crawford. I'm trying to get all these books out of here right now, but I really love the casing as well. Like, check that out. The way that Fake Rate did this casing, absolutely stunning. Yes, these are Fake Rate special editions. I am in love. And what also intrigues me is that they didn't just do like a black sprayed edge, they did a black gilded edge. That is something I've never seen before done with books, at least. I prefer these over the original covers. I mean, I know that some people prefer the original cover designs. I just really love these. I don't know, they just capture the darkness of the series, and I really like the vibes that they give off. In my personal opinion, they're absolutely stunning, and I was definitely lucky to grab them while they were still in stock. So next up, I have to haul some Scarlett St. Clair hardbacks. I have the Hades saga, and then I have the Hades and Persephone series, at least the first 3 books and the first 2 books here. I'm still waiting for a book each to be published in this series, but pretty much I wanted to collect these because at the moment as I'm filming this, Scarlett St. Clair is scheduled to come to Babe 2023. I seriously hope that she doesn't cancel on us. I mean, Laura Falasa did, and I am forever devastated about that, but I just really want to meet her, and I wanted her books in hardback, so I got her books in hardback. I initially had the independently published editions, and none of them match any of the traditionally published editions that are being distributed here in Australia, so I decided to start fresh and purchase these ones instead. I can't wait to continue on with the series. I actually have only read A Touch of Darkness, but we will see how everything goes from there. I reckon that my dark romance loving heart that is starting to develop will kind of enjoy the series. And speaking of Scarlett St. Clair, I have another book by her, and that is Queen of Myth and Monsters. This is the second book in the Adrian and Isolde series, and I hate to say it, I did not love it as much as the first book. I am kind of devastated at how much I did not like this book. I mean, I did still enjoy it, it just wasn't as good as the first book, but I'm so looking forward to the finale whenever that comes out. I'm not mentally prepared for it at the moment, but that all being said, I think I need a break from the series because as much as I loved the first book, the second book was just okay. And once again, speaking of Scarlet St. Clair, I forgot to hold these like together with the Touch of Darkness books, but I ended up receiving the next 2 books in the Touch of Darkness / Hades Saga series from the bookish box with the Alephian art illustrations. I love these illustrations so much. So here I have a Touch of Ruin and a Game of Retribution. Pretty much the bookish box are releasing these in pairs as the books are coming out, and they wanted to wait for a Game of Retribution to come out before they put this set on pre-order. I'm not too sure whether or not they're going to do the next 2 books together or all 3 books together, and they're just going to do that in one package. I just want all these books on my shelves ASAP because I love these editions. These pages, so pretty. I also really love the foiling underneath the covers. I love the end pages. I love Alephian art's illustrations in general. Dominique Wesson's art is absolutely stunning as well, and I know that with the bookish box's controversies, their lack of quality checks in place, a lot of the time their sets are misprinted. However, I haven't had a single issue with this set so far, so I really like this one. And getting back to some Fake Crate special editions, I finally have the first part of the Wicked Villains set by them. So I have Desperate Measures. These books are by Katie Robert, by the way. The Wicked Villains series was the first book series I read by Katie Robert. There's some steamy art underneath, so I'm probably not going to show that, but I will show how cute the foiling is here. I think my one gripe about these, funnily enough, is the fact that there are like no end pages. But then again, I noticed that Fake Crate don't usually do end pages. Interesting. And as you can see, it has been signed. I can't say that I like these covers better than I like the special editions that Katie Robert came up with. However, I am still very much pleased by these, and I very much love the foiling underneath. Next, I have Learn My Lesson. As you can see, there is Meg, Hades, and Hercules on the cover. And once again, gilded edges. I love myself a good gilded edge signed. And then also some beautiful foiling on this one as well. I reckon that the foiled hardbacks definitely make this purchase absolutely worth it. And then finally, out of the first part of the set, we have A Worthy Opponent, which has Tink and Hook. I love this book so much. I love these 2 so much, and I am just so happy I have another edition of this book. And once again, let me show you that signed tip-in page, and we have a green and gold, and I reckon that that is like the perfect combination. I am so excited for the second half of this set to come. Even though I'm not a big fan of the Sea Witch, the Beast is my favorite book in the series. Queen Takes Rose as well is also one of my favorites in the series, so I am looking forward to receiving the rest of the books, even though the Sea Witch, in my personal opinion, is not great. Love these editions, and so happy that I have them on my shelves. And another special edition set I received this month was a special edition set from Fable. They did the Never After series by Emily McIntyre, and as much as I want to say that I like these covers, I think the only cover I really like is Scarred. And the reason why I like Scarred is because both Hooked and Wretched both have the same like copy and paste skull on them. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually kind of sick of the copy and paste skull. I do like how they look underneath the dust jackets, but I have a bit of a dilemma here. I do want to take the dust jackets off for good. However, I prefer how the spines look on my shelf with like the little icon up there. And also I like the foiling on these. So I am conflicted because I very much like the look of the naked hardbacks. I especially really like the naked hardback of Scarred. Surprisingly enough, it looks completely different, but I like the way that it looks, and I also like the pages on Scarred. I don't like the pages on Hooked because there's just like flame here, but I know that it's meant to be like rounded out, but I reckon that the flame should have been consistent throughout the pages, like some sort of line. That's just my personal opinion though, but I really like the consistency on this one. And then, oh, I love underneath the dust jacket of Wretched. I also really like these pages here. Let me show you. I love how this looks. This is so pretty. Once again, I'm conflicted because I do like the spines better with the dust jackets, but I prefer the front-facing style of the naked hardback. Overall, I am somewhat satisfied with these. I do prefer the original covers, I'm not gonna lie. However, I am happy that I do have these special edition books, and I definitely prefer their naked hardbacks. And speaking of fabled special editions, I also got Den of Vipers. And without shame, I removed the dust jacket. I personally was not feeling the dust jacket. I did not purchase this book because I wanted the dust jacket. I purchased this book because I wanted the naked hardback. Look at how stunning the naked hardback is. This was enough for me to be sold on this edition. And the thing is, I still haven't even read the book. Funnily enough, I have the original edition and now I have this. What am I doing to myself? I also have a signed book plate by them. I'm happy that I have this edition, especially for its naked hardback. I don't know what I do with the dust jacket. I probably just threw it away. Or I've stored it somewhere. But yeah, it's pretty. I like it. Now I need to read it, but I'm slightly intimidated. And I think everyone knows why I should be. And the next book I have to haul is the standard edition of The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. I love this book, and I'm so happy that we now have a spin-off to the Folk of Air series. I just hope that it extends to a trilogy personally. However, I will be fine with a duology. I like this edition, even though it's the standard edition. I reckon that it is really cool, and I'm happy I have it because it's one of my favorite books of the year so far. And next up, I have the 10th anniversary edition of Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. I love these editions so much. Like, I liked the Lady Midnight 10th anniversary edition, but the Lord of Shadows 10th anniversary edition looks absolutely stunning. And I reckon that adding more blue hues and the rose gold definitely amplifies the style. And next up, I have the Illumicrate special edition of Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. I'm so happy I have this edition, and I've read this book now because, oh my goodness, it is one of the best books I've read this year as well. I was just absolutely blown away by the story, and I needed to read it in the lead up to getting the Fairy Loot edition. So I did, and I have no regrets because, oh my goodness, now I am going to soon have 3 editions of this book, but once again, no regrets. This book is incredible, and it's one I would recommend to absolutely everyone. When I think about it, I start to cry. So I don't want to dwell on it too much because I don't want to become the waterworks here. But this right here is absolutely stunning, and I love how this cutout works. The pages, so pretty, and I believe that it's signed. Yes, it is signed. Next up, I have 2 special editions from the Arcane Society, both of them by May Sage, aka Alexi Blake. First one being The Cursed Crown, and second one being Ruled by Blood. These 2 are absolutely beautiful. They have 2 different cover illustrators, but I mean, they kind of have a similar style. I love the way that they have been foiled. Also love the pages here. Look at those. So pretty. And I believe that they've also been signed. Yes, they've been signed by May Sage. I also love the end page art here. I don't remember what the end page art was here. Oh my goodness. So pretty. That is divine, in my opinion. While Ruled by Blood looks like a huge, chunky book, it's actually a bind-up of 2 books. And The Cursed Crown is a standalone itself. I'm so happy I have these. They are so pretty. I actually was planning on skipping this month, funnily enough, because I had not read May Sage and I wanted to save money. But at least when I saw the cover of The Cursed Crown, I knew that I needed this renewal, so I renewed. And next up, I have a Fairy Loot exclusive edition of a book that is actually a sequel, and I don't have the exclusive edition of the first book. But I mean, a girl can dream, okay? I have Heart of a Sun Warrior by Sue Lin Ten, and I desperately want the Daughter of the Moon Goddess special edition from Fairy Loot. But I mean, every single time I do see it on sale, I literally cannot afford it. However, if that means I will only be stuck with a special edition of Heart of the Sun Warrior forever, so let it be. This is absolutely beautiful. I love the stenciling on this edition. I also like the colors on this edition better than the original edition, and also the end page art is so pretty. And then underneath the dust jacket, we have some foiling here. It's just an absolutely stunning edition. I wish that the first book was a bit more accessible in the Fairy Loot edition, but I mean, who knows? Maybe one day it will come my way, but that's not today, unfortunately. And another Fairy Loot exclusive edition sequel that I actually own the first book for, thankfully, I have The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake, same author as Alone with You in the Ether. I am so looking forward to reading this book. This is the only edition I have of it. I unfortunately did not collect the Atlas 6 as much as everyone else did. I mean, people were collecting Waterstones editions, Illumicrate editions, Fairy Loot editions. I wish that I got the Illumicrate editions. I just wasn't a subscriber at the time, so I had no chance. And I still want the Illumicrate editions so bad, but I've settled with the Fairy Loot editions. And I kind of like the concept of this one. It's in a color that I did not expect it to be at all. And I also very much like the digital printed edges here. I also like the art. And I mean, the foiling is okay. It's basic, but I'm just happy that I have some sort of special edition where I don't have to get the original Atlas Paradox white book because I have the Fairy Loot edition in a cream color. That would not work well with the Atlas Complex, I'd say. So overall, I'm satisfied with this edition of the Atlas Paradox, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series. And the next book I have to mention in this haul today was my December Fairy Loot book pick of the month for the young adult box, that is. And that, my friends, is Cruel Illusions by Margie Fuston. This edition is so much better than the original UK edition. I was worried about the original UK cover being put onto the Fairy Loot edition, and in this instance, I'm so happy that Fairy Loot proved me wrong. Look at how pretty this is. But this is not the only thing that's pretty about it. These This is pretty. This is pretty, but also this is pretty. I am in love with that embossing. I cannot wait to read this book. And next up, I have the Illumicrate book pick for January, and that, my friends, is God Killer by Hannah Kanner. This edition is so pretty. It kind of reminds me of what was done with Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Fairy Loot, where they kind of changed the color palette to blue, purple, and pink-ish, and I definitely like that Illumicrate did that here with God Killer. I like this edition better than the original, and the original is actually really hard to beat. Look at how beautiful those are. And I love the effort that they put into the end pages. Usually end pages, like every once in a while I admire them, and every once in a while I don't care for them as much, but I mean, oh, these are pretty. And finally, that character art on that naked hardback, so gorgeous. I love this edition of God Killer so much, and I'm really happy I did not pre-order the Waterstones edition because I was so close to. Because the Waterstones edition is so pretty, but this, in my personal opinion, is prettier. And the second last book I have to hold today, book lovers, is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. This is the Fairy Loot exclusive edition that was in the January adult box, and I prefer this edition over the original. Once again, they played around with colors, and I appreciate it because I think my big critique for the original cover was that it was lacking in color. I think some people prefer that aesthetic, but I prefer this aesthetic, and I mean, these pages look really cool. I also very much appreciate the end pages here and the foiling. I reckon that they did an excellent job with this one. I was so close to skipping this box because I did not like the cover and I was unsure about this book. However, as I'm filming this, I am yet to read the book. I might have read the book by the time this video goes out, but one thing's for sure, I don't regret this renewal whatsoever because the cover is stunning. And last but certainly not least, the last book I have to hold today is Spice Road by Maya Ibrahim. I am so looking forward to this book. This is so exciting. I have said this before, but I will say this again. Maya Ibrahim is from Sydney, Australia, from a Middle Eastern family, and I am also the same. I'm also from Sydney, Australia, in a Middle Eastern family. The Middle Eastern community here, specifically in Western Sydney, where I grew up, is very strong, and we are all very supportive of each other. So I have the personal instinct to be very supportive over Maya and her endeavors, and I'm just so happy for her. I mean, look, I haven't even read her book yet, but I am just so happy and proud. So, I mean, I've got to read this book. It's just, I think, knowing that she has a pretty similar background to me, it's just really exciting, and I support that. I love this Fairy Loot exclusive edition, and oh my goodness, I'm just so proud of her for even having a Fairy Loot exclusive edition. Look at how stunning it is. Look at these pages, and also, this end page art is so beautiful. I also love the naked hardback, and I love the reverse dust jacket. I mean, I kind of wish I had two editions of this so I could display it both ways. They're just so pretty. I'm absolutely in love with the special edition, and I mean, I'm already so supportive of this author regardless of whether or not I've read her book. I'm gonna continue to support her. I hope that I love Spice Road though. So I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you happen to stay till the end of the video, leave me the book stack emoji because we do that for book hauls. And if you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already. Join the amazing community of book lovers. And also, I have social medias. My Geeswizzle books on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/Geeswizzle. And finally, I'm at TikTok. My Geeswizzle on TikTok if you want to follow me there for some bookish content. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace. Started out with half and I flipped it in a double. Started out with half and I flipped it in a double.